Put my tea down. So, have you guys seen Turbo Kid? Or have you heard of Turbo Kid rather? I just watched it. It's it's not bad. I want to like it more than I do, you know. But it's not terrible. It's got its moments. It's got its cool shit going on for it. Yeah, like I saw the trailer for this on like just kind of one of my trailer ass marathon days where I just like sit around on YouTube and just watch freaking coming attractions for like like movies because they have a lot of channels on there that's nothing but film trailers, and like I'm just tooling around. I find this movie that just looks fantastically bloody and like just insane, about a guy who rides a BMX bike and fucking like fights people with like a super deadly power glove and shit. And that's pretty much what the movie's about. It's I didn't realize it was streaming on Netflix for like quite some time apparently. It came out in 2015, so probably like like maybe not super long ago. It came out on there, but yeah, it was kind of buried in the sci-fi. It wasn't in the features or anything, but or not the features, the fucking like new releases or anything like that. When I was fucking tooling through, because how I like to go tooling through those archives. But yeah, Turbo Kid, right? So, what the whole thing is about this film, if you don't know, is it's one of these kind of like throwback 80s, early 90s, but like postmodern like films. So like, it kind of evokes like the style of shit that happened before, but it was made in like 2015. You know what I mean? It feels like if if the cover art for like VHS tapes of the era were like actually a bit more representative of what goes on in the movie. Like, and people just kind of took that whole concept and they just actually made a movie out of it, And it's not bad. It's like a post-apocalyptic film about like acid rain destroys Canada or whatever, and water's super hard to find, and everybody rides around on fucking like bicycles, and like scavenges and shit like that, and like there's like a warlord and there's a whole bunch of crazy shit going on. Pretty like standard fare for that kind of a movie, But it's not bad. It's not great either. It's not like, because I kind of have a problem with these kind of like these attempts, right? Is like, I generally have fun with them, but they feel like they're kind of like shitting on their source material a little bit. Maybe not like intentionally, but they're trying to make it feel like those movies are like super, are just actually like not as good as stuff that comes out today, even though they are, and like some of them are actually better. If that makes sense. It feels like they're taking the gooniness and like the crazy shit that people were allowed to get away with, like in like films from like 20, 30 years ago, and kind of like amping it to like a cartoon point that doesn't exactly like do it justice. So instead of just making a movie like the movies they like from then, they're kind of like, this is the essence of the movies that we like from then, and then we're gonna make, we're gonna distill that somehow through some alchemical film process and come up with like this kind of, just kind of self-aware, fucking like theoretical, like kind of essence of what we consider to be what those movies were in the past, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example of something like everyone's probably seen by now. Probably Turbo Kid, honestly, even though like I haven't really seen too much press about it. It's very Canadian, like everybody in it's super Canadian. It's made by like French Canadians, and Canadian films don't always go over well. A lot of times they do, but a lot of these come from Canada, actually. I'm thinking Hobo with a Shotgun, I'm looking at you. which is awesome. Hobo with a Shotgun is by far my favorite film in this cycle. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to think of like a movie that like approaches this and like gooniness. It'd probably be like Kung Fury, maybe. Be a good example of it. Like, you know, I don't hate Kung Fury. It's fun. Like, it's a fun watch. But they're kind of taking their nostalgia like all the way, even to like tracking problems and shit like that. Like in a movie that they made like digitally and doesn't have tracking problems that you're like streaming, you know, you don't have to fuck around with. But they're like, I remember when my tape would fuck up and, you know, I'd miss like a super cool part of the movie. Let's do that in this movie. It's I don't like that. That's all right. But like everything's kind of filtered to look like kind of like those old Canon films, or like maybe like the early like full moon stuff. You know, like everything's kind of like color corrected in this weird way to make it look a little bit washed out. And you know, same thing with this movie. It's got like the, you know, it takes place in the future of 1997, you know, so it's like definitely like trying to be from that era. It's like the alternate, you know, future at this point, but you know, the like 15 years into the future of, you know, the present that they're trying to claim the movie is taking place on. If that makes, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But it's not bad. There's a ton of references to other like super goony ass movies from the time. There's like the BMX bike thing. It's like omnipresent in this movie, and it kind of feels good because, for one thing, it's actually like bikes are pretty much actual really good post-apocalyptic transport when you think about it. Like super easy to fix. They don't need gas. You know, they're a little tiring to ride, so if you're like scavenging for food and water, that might be a problem. But like, you know, for short distances or whatever, bikes are where it's at, right? I think this is the first time I really thought about that. Like, so I always think of a post-apocalyptic transport in like Mad Max terms, like, you know, like crazy ass like Dragula cars with like spikes coming out of them and giant engines and shit that like just hog on resources like crazy. But like honestly, bikes. Not a bad idea. But, yeah. So, everyone's riding around on bikes and shit, and they really play that early extreme sports film kind of BMX, angle up. They even have that song in it in the very beginning. I can't remember what movie it's from. So, if anybody wants to put this in the comments and, like, fucking, like, school me a little bit, that's fine, because it's going to torture me all day. Because it's either from Rad or BMX Bandits. And I can't remember which. It's the one that goes like, there's a thunder in your heart. Every moon is like lightning. Every move is like lightning. Every move is like a lightning. Something, something, something when you get your taste of the glory. You know, You've heard it. If you've seen those movies, you've heard it. I can't remember which one it's from. There's a thunder. Is it there's a fire in your heart? No, there's a thunder in your heart. Every move is like a lightning. Yeah. Which one is it? It's either Rad or BMX Bandits. But yeah, if anybody wants to tell me so I don't have to go through those movies like fast forwarding until I see the montage with that fucking song in it, that would be perfect. Thank you. But yeah, that's in the beginning, and, you know, like, the guy's fucking weapon looks like a power glove and shit like that. Michael Ironsides is in it, who is just, like, you know, generally, like, the second Banana villain in, like, a lot of, or the first Banana, honestly, in a lot of, fucking, like, sci-fi movies of the era. Michael Ironsides has been a lot of shit, man. Oh. Yeah. But, like, if you don't know who that guy is, he's, you know, he's been in a whole lot of stuff. I'm sure you've seen Michael Ironsides before. He's a super good character actor. I think Total Recall, like the second bad guy in Total Recall, Michael Ironsides. He's playing somebody, like, super similar in this movie, even though he's, like, the first bad guy. But, yeah, there's, like, a ton of shit, though, that's going on. Like, a ton of, like, they're not exactly references, so it's not, like like a referential kind of humor, but it's shit that's like similar to other things. Like you'll see nods to stuff like Army of Darkness is in there. Like there's stuff from like maybe like Cherry 2000 feels like it's in there a little bit, like because this lady's a robot in it, and like her battery's running dead, and I think that's what's happening in Cherry 2000. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but it's like somebody's trying to save his sex robot from the battery going dead. I think that's what happens, but like that's what's happening to her, and like like her little battery meter on the wrist, it's like little Zelda hearts and shit, and the guys, yeah, I talked about the Power Glove, and like there's one or two like Army of Darkness references. Like this guy comes back, he's like an arm wrestler, so that's probably over the top, I would imagine. They're trying to kind of interface with a little bit there, and he gets his hand cut off at one point, and it he comes back with like a sweet ass robot hand, like similar to like Ash and, you know, Army of Darkness. And at one point the robot lady, she's got like a stick with a gnome on it as a weapon, and she's like, "This is my gnome stick." It's like a little garden gnome, but it's totally that. She raises her hand up in the air like the poster with the shotgun. Yeah, man. There's a lot of shit like that. There's a kind of reminds me of She a little bit in a whole lot of ways. Solar Babies kind of shows up a few times. Tank Girl, really, because like there's this whole thing about water and like extracting water from humans. Soylent Green, because like of that whole extracting water for humans thing. Oh man, just like a ton of shit, and it's fun. It's a fun watch, but it's not. It's by no means like actually better than its source material, or even better than some of the movies like in this kind of new like revisionist genre. Like Hobo with a Shotgun is awesome, even though a lot of people like deride it. It's one of the ones that feels more authentic than like the rest of these, because it like Hobo with a Shotgun just feels like it's a guy who likes a whole bunch of canon films from, you know, that time period about vigilantes and like weird shit, and so he made one, you know, and he kind of made it look a little bit like, you know, it came from that time period, but like it doesn't feel like they're doing like heavy references or anything like that. Like this movie doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel like distilled source material. It just feels like this is a guy who made a movie about a hobo with a shotgun who fucking like murders gangsters. That's it. And there are these guys called the Plague, and they run around kicking ass, and there's like a lot of blood and tits. Awesome. So you know, that's a better movie than this. Beyond the Black Rainbow might be in the same category as this, and that's a far better movie. That Beyond the Black Rainbow is fucking strange though. It's really, really bad news if you're in the mood for just kind of a movie that's gonna make you feel gross. Beyond the Black Rainbow is the tip for that one. Definitely not Turbo Kid. Turbo Kid's gonna make you feel happy. You're gonna feel awesome. But if you want to access that kind of just like hallucinatory, surrealistic, kind of macabre, fucking grim sci-fi, you know, like that's what Beyond the Black Rainbow is all about. It's very cool though, and you should check it out. But it's not Turbo Kid, which is what I'm trying to talk about here. You know, like Kung Fury obviously is fun. It's not bad, you know. It's a little short. It's a little much. They pack a lot into like the 20-minute running time, or like however much that is. But you know, that's as close as these movies come to Turbo Kid. You know, so like I'd equate it with that. You know, which is, it's fun. It's a good time, but it's a little. It can be a little much. That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to think of other movies that are like this. I don't know. There's a whole genre of music, you know, that's like this. That whole like Sega Genesis core shit that's like been coming out lately, you know, which I like. I do dig that like weird fucking kind of kind of gross synth music that's been happening. Maybe The Guest might be a movie similar to this. I think I talked about that in a previous video. I really like The fucking Guest though. That's awesome. But that's more like a thriller crime thing going on. But yeah, Turbo Kid. I mean, you know, if you don't have anything else to do, you just kind of want to watch a movie that's awesome and kind of like optimistic about, you know, the ways of the past, you know, and filmmaking of that era, then yeah, go check this one out. Have a good time and comment on where the fuck that song is from in my comments section so I can figure it out, or hit me up on Twitter about it. Whatever, something, anything, because I don't really want to watch BMX Bandits to try to find it. Okay. Goodbye.